Immigration wasn't something I thought I would ever dive into, but the fear it conjured was overwhelming. It felt very much like tightrope walking. Keep your pace, never let your body freeze. And when the jump comes, don't second guess it. If you hesitate, the adrenaline kicks in, and every second makes that leap harder. In the initial years, chaotic. I was in the thick of it, struggling to make sense, always pushing forward without a pause. Maybe if I even had stopped, I might not have had the perspective that I have right now. But look, the clarity comes eventually. Today, I see the reasons behind my ups and downs, and while some battles were just mine, I've got insights that could be yours. In this video, I'm about to unpack it all, split it into smart moves and maybe not so smart moves. A year ago, I might have said smart and foolish moves, but my journey taught me to look at even unpleasant events with more curious eyes. At least I'm trying to. Now, let's start with the smart moves. Ever tried learning a language through textbooks and found that wasn't clicking? That was me. I graduated in English teaching, always buried in books. Always theorizing the best language learning methods. Then, on a whim, or maybe overconfidence, I moved to Turkey. No prior knowledge, honestly. Just a travel guidebook in the hand. But here's the twist. That book, barely used. Instead, life threw me in the deep end. My language learning became all about natural discovery. From job encounters to day-to-day tasks, every challenge became an opportunity. I mean, sure, Google Translate was my sidekick, but the real lesson came from streets. The people, the music. It was like being a kid again, relying on gestures, sounds, and expressions. Constantly adjusting, constantly learning. And in fairness, I was blessed with locals who embraced my journey. Now I know what you're thinking. Immersing yourself completely? That must be intense. Of course, the path I took isn't for everyone. It's bold, chaotic, and requires a leap of faith. But let me tell you, if you have the means and the spirit of adventure, you should definitely try it. Consider living in a place where language surrounds you. Connect to the locals, listen to their stories, watch their lives unfold. There is a richness in learning this way that no classroom can truly replicate. Instead of spending years in your own country attending classes, imagine the wonders of living the language, feeling it, breathing it every single day. The world is a vast classroom waiting to be explored. Languages are the keys to unlocking its treasures. Every place on this map has its own unique flavor, vibes, and culture. But guess what remains consistent? The universal human desire to connect. And in a new country, interacting with locals isn't just about breaking the ice. It's about diving deep into the heart of their world. Sure, the initial interactions might seem personal or even overwhelming, which is understandable. What's it like where you're from? Why did you move here? Your culture, your religion, your life choices, your story, your history. Why are you here? How much money you earn? And I mean, of course, there are some really annoying cases. Apart from that, isn't it just fascinating that someone is so interested in your story? Pro tip, have a set of friendly, general answer ready. It helps in navigating those first conversations. It's like having key to open doors to more meaningful conversations. First impressions are golden. These initial chit-chats, which might seem not worthy, could be the stepping stones to more profound relationships. Engaging with natives is the heart and soul of the travel experience. Dive into it. It's not just about getting to know an individual. It's about embracing an entirely new cultural role. Yes, it's a different ball game than just mingling with your fellow expats. But the reward? absolutely unparalleled. Point here, remember as you explore to connect, open up, and let the journey shape you. We're about to dive into a topic that I believe is absolutely crucial: setting boundaries, especially with the folks who may not be on the same wavelength as you are. Let's go into it. See, there is a misconception floating around. Some people believe that if you are friendly, you should be open to everyone and every idea. But let's be real here. Being friendly doesn't mean that you have to agree with everyone or align with their objectives. Take a moment to think about it. Throughout life, we exposed to countless ideas, opinions, lifestyle, cultures. While it's enriching to understand diverse perspectives, it doesn't necessarily mean adopting or agreeing with each one. Here is something that I observed. We are more often than not influenced by our surroundings. I mean, have you ever noticed how your mood might shift based on the people you're with? Or how your goals might become tap blurry when surrounded by people who don't understand or share them? It's not about blaming anyone. It's just human nature. We're social beings, and whether consciously or unconsciously, we often align ourselves with our environment. Now, I'm not advocating for living inside of a bubble or isolating yourself. Far from it. It's about striking to balance. Embrace diversity, engage into conversations, but also recognize when certain interactions aren't serving your growth. Setting boundaries is not about shutting people out. It's about preserving your inner peace and staying true to your path. Think about it like tuning your radio. There are countless stations out there, each has its own unique frequency. While some might be music to your ears, others might be noise or static. And just as you would adjust a dial to find a frequency, it's essential to adjust your interactions to ensure you're tuned in into the right frequencies that uplift and inspires you. Remember, friends, it's okay to be selective about the energies you're surrounding yourself with. After all, you're the writer of your own life story. And now the second part, the decisions that I would have definitely made differently have I had a better perspective. Flexibility is something I have always respected, yet something that I struggle to maintain in everyday life, even these days. I have a clear mental image of how certain tasks should be done, and any deviation from that image, whether during the process or witnessing the results, is perceived as failure in executing that task. A failure that has not only undervalued my efforts, but also stained the history of that task. Sometimes I felt like it's better not to undertake the task than to see it imperfectly executed. This rigid mindset comes at a cost. The biggest impact was on my exercise regimen. Before migrating, I had a strict routine with pre- and post-workout meals always prepared. But circumstances changed instantly, signaling that they might remain that way. And instead of adjusting the intensity or type of the exercise, I chose to break from it entirely, then return, then break again. Home workouts yield results. Early morning yoga was refreshing. Running was good, but my impatience to revert to the old form often lead to burnout. This all or nothing mentality was draining. Had I been more adaptable, everything might have been different. Conclusion: life with its twists and turns demand adaptability. My journey eliminated the pitfalls of clinging to rigid frameworks. I have to constantly remind myself that embracing flexibility is not about compromising quality, but recognizing that there is beauty and strength in adaptability. While our ideals and methods may vary, the importance of molding oneself into evolving circumstances remain paramount. I wish I knew it was not about perfection, but progression. Not always about the destination, but the journey. Will I ever learn that? Seriously, I have no idea. I used to rarely go out. Like, it took me a while that I realized it's okay to also have fun. And it's not never too late to embrace a change. I thought resting was remedy to all my fatigue. And guess what? A few things on the carpet didn't mean the end of the world. The dishes, they could have waited while I hung out with my friends. Having guests in an imperfectly tidy home isn't as bad as I thought. I also wish I would have discovered the thrill of solo traveling sooner. Abandoning my overthinking or never-ending chores for a few hours a day doesn't drain me from all of my plans. I wasn't always like this. This behavior, which can seem excessive at times, might be a reaction to my earlier restraint. But when I see my desires coming to life, I can't pull away. I get so excited about them. Every tiny detail, aiming for perfection, living a moment that mirrors exactly what I had in mind. Honestly, if given a chance, I might do it all over again. It's hard for me to genuinely critique them. All said and done, balance could be my friend in life. I should have set up an emergency fund. I don't know about other countries and other people, but in Turkey, being a foreigner and needing money can make you a great target for employers, especially if you are in a private sector. There is a high chance that you won't get what you're worth. To get your dues, you have to navigate administrative and governmental hurdles. And by the time you figure it out, a year of your immigration might have passed. It's about working those 8 hours, managing your expenses, heading home. But what if you have bigger plans for those 8 hours? You wish for time to bring your ideas into life, take risks, and learn from trials. Even if you cut back on some of life luxurious, your income might not match your expenses. And you may not want to borrow money from anyone, no matter the relationship. That's when you're trapped into that dreaded job. If only you have saved up for a year, things could have changed. You never know when a fantastic opportunity or brilliant idea might come into your way. I wish I had planned better. I wish I had planned better to have more freedom to act on my ideas. These savings can be your savior to tap into better jobs. Everything changes when you can say no to that next year job's contract, wait for news from your favorite place, or even have the patience to wait for a few months. Side note, bluffing doesn't always work. You need to feel that you have that saving, that you're safe. And yeah, that was it. I could have done way more, but let's have a discussion in the comments down below. Share your tips. I mean, not everyone has to learn from the old trial and error style. Let's help each other out. Much love. Till next videos. Stay tuned. Bye-bye.